I'm about 5 minutes from home, and I got a coaching call in about 5 minutes. I got this opportunity. I had somebody else who wanted to do it, but I want to work you in. What do you think?
Did you say opportunity?
I love these coaching calls, though. It's so fun. And tonight, this topic about how we finance deals. Justin and I will just talk about how we finance deals. And that should spur a lot of questions in people's minds. Shoes off, we're late, but we can't be dirty. See the setup first here.
Andy, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
I was trying to stall for you, man. Did I do good, everyone?
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. Nice. What's going on, man? We got
What's up?
Video artist in the house.
I was coming from a recording we were doing and kind of late, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Coaching call." He's like, "I want to come record." I'm like,
awesome. He's back there recording. I love it. Awesome. Looks like we got a lot of people on the call, ready to rock. So a couple things before we get going. First off, tonight we'll be talking about money. Who likes money? Who likes to talk about money? Oh, good. We already got some people going in the chat. Awesome.
They know.
A lot of times I hear people say they can't find money. I'm like, well, what about all the hundreds of investors, thousands of investors that are out there that would love to buy your deal? Oh, you mean wholesale? Oh, I don't want to wholesale it. But I'm like, well, if you have no other options, like that is financing. You will always be able to get the money unless your deal just really sucks. Unless there's like no meat on the bone. And even in those cases,
that's a good case too. When if your deal really sucks and you can't get the money, that's actually a good little check for you. Like if you can't get money, if no one lends you the money, that's a good reason you might not want to do that deal.
It might be the best deal you never did.
Absolutely. Especially when you're newer, that's a good check because a lot of people say, yeah, go get them. That's a good deal. But when they're actually the lender, when they have to put their money on the line.
Yeah.
Nope.
Having that been said, the bigger and the better your buyer's list is, the more you can sometimes push those deals that aren't that great and end up finding a buyer. Right, Andy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I scratch my head sometimes.
Okay, awesome. So let's hit up a couple questions and then we'll get into some more details of creative financing, and specifically, Andy has more experience with that. So I'll let him kind of head that up. All right, let's see. So Nathan, how did you set up the deals with your private money? How do you repay them with profits? So there's different ways that you can pay your private money lender. I pay people monthly, and that's because I do direct deposit. It's kind of like a big operation, right? They're just constantly getting paid. I want that check, that deposit showing up every month. Like Bob, when I'm someone who lends me, I think we have like 700,000 of his dollars. Every month he's getting $7,000.
And the way that I do it, I keep it very simple because I just don't like complicated stuff either. So when I've got somebody's money, the way I did it at the beginning, I'll say, here's the property we're buying. And I would say, here's your note trust deed against that property. I wouldn't make any interest payments to them at the end of the deal. I let it all accrue at the end of the deal. When I get paid, they get paid. They get all their money back. And then they say, well, I don't want the money. So then they take it back on another deal. We did that for 4 or 5 deals. Then each lender, one by one, they all do the same thing. They're like, look, I trust you. Just put it on a deal and pay me. So right now, the way I do it with most of them, I put it into a deal. They know it's into that deal. However many months that deal goes, I pay them the interest for that deal. I pay the interest at the end of the thing, but they want to keep the principal, keep moving. So I'll just move the principal somewhere else.
I'm blown away at the people that I was friends with or family. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. We just assume everyone out there is broke, right? I do that, but it's like.
And if you're looking for money too, it's kind of an
wow.
awkward conversation, right? Not a lot of people want to say stuff, but the best line I've ever heard is, who do you know? Who do you know that would like to, you just tell them, it comes up a conversation, what you do a little bit. And you say, hey, I have houses and sometimes I need capital. Hey, who do you know that might be looking for other investment options? And that's a totally disarming question. You're not asking them for money, so they don't clam up. They're just like, who do I know? And then they might be thinking, well, me, right? Like, why not me? And then you start the conversation that way. When I find that they're interested in that, I would never jump on a deal right then. I would just qualify them a little bit and say, well, how much money are we talking here? Because some people, I think money, they think 20 grand. You can't do much with 20 grand. But when
Yeah.
I say, oh, I don't know, I've got like 100 grand or whatever, and you're like, okay, you know, are you willing to put like that much money in a deal? When they say yes, you don't have a deal for them right now. Say, okay, look, when I find something that meets that parameters, like, then are you willing to do that? And they're like, yeah. So you kind of get a soft commitment. You say, okay, next time I get one, I'll give you a call. And then they're kind of waiting for it. And then you can call them up, and that's the pitch, Justin, saying, hey, I got this opportunity. I had somebody else who wanted to do it, but I want to work you in. What do you think? Would you like to get in on this? And as soon as they get in once and they get the taste of it, they'll keep doing it.
Did you say propertunity? Is that what you said?
The opportunity.
Did you say that? Or it sounded like it.
You guys can use that.
That's awesome. Okay, Dusty says, I feel it's out of the blue to call people up for that amount of money. Maybe cold call and be vague and set something up face to face.
Oh, man. Who is this, Dusty?
Yeah.
Man, you've got an opportunity. If I've got a house right now that's $200,000 that I need to close and it's a ripping deal, you know it's a great deal, I've got an opportunity for that person. It's that mindset. You call them with that opportunity.
It is that mindset.
You need it. And if you guys haven't been on the other side of the table, you got $200,000 sitting in your bank account doing you nothing.
Yep.
And then somebody calls you with that opportunity, like you're thinking from your own paradigm. Shift the tables and recognize if you're a retired person, older, you got 200 grand, you're making 0.5% on some CD or something. Like,
write down 100 people that you know that might have money. And I would just call, like, you don't have to call all of them yet. Just write them all down to get the brain going, get the mind going. This is what I've done in the past. I actually probably still have saved lists of like over 100 people. Whenever I think of a new one, I write it down. I have like a digital place where I put them. You put an Evernote or whatever you like to use for your digital list that you have. And I just keep adding to it. And then whenever I need money, I just start going down that list and calling people. And like Andy said, it's like, hey, do you know of anyone have money for this dude? Just keep, I call it dialing for dollars. But do that. If you're uncomfortable doing that, do it. You're hooking them up. You're helping them out. When you say you don't commingle funds, do you keep each private money lender's funds in a separate bank account? No, he just means they got to have their own deed of trust. First deed of trust, second deed of trust. Are private money lenders paid annualized or per deal? Yes, everything's annualized.
Annualized. So if you've got a private money lender, simple math, guys, that has $100,000, and you buy a house with it and sell a house with it, buy a house with it, sell a house with it, buy a house with it, sell a house with it, 3 times in 1 year, but you held their 100 grand all year long, then they made 10%, then they made $10,000. It doesn't matter how many houses they were on that you sold and flipped. That's the annualized nature of this thing.
Yeah, I read that wrong. So you're correct, Andy. So let's say that someone lend you $100,000 and they're getting paid 10% annualized, but they only have it with you for 6 months, for half of the year. Then that means they made 5% on that money. So they need to go keep that money working, right? So that's kind of one of the bonuses. If you feel like you can keep their money going, then, try to keep it going. Well, all right, Andy, you want to get into a little bit of financing real quick here?
So I would say the best place for you guys to get money, especially because you're going directly to private sellers, in REO days, short sale days, and all that stuff, this isn't as viable an option. But when you're sitting at the kitchen table with the seller and they have a check coming, there's 2 different ways that this can happen. They are, I would say, probably your best lender because they are unsophisticated and they don't value money the way that you value money. Okay, their options are like, what do you do with your money, Mr. Seller? They're like, what do you mean? What do I do? I'm going to buy a boat, right? Like they don't think investment terms most of the time. So when they're there, there's 2 different options, right? Either they own this thing free and clear or they've got a mortgage on it. So let's just talk about a hypothetical $100,000 house, right? You're going to pay them $100,000 for the as-is value of the house. In scenario 1, they owe $80,000 on that house. Normal mortgage, FHA, whatever it is, right? They owe 80 grand. And the second situation we're going to talk about is they don't owe anything on it. So let's talk situation number 1. You're buying it for 100 grand. They owe $80,000 on this property. And if you find out they owe $80,000 on the property, if you want them to be your lender, here's a simple way that you can talk to them about it. Right? So when you go to sell this property, since you owe $80,000 on it, how much are you going to get? And they're thinking, what do you mean? How much are you going to get? Well, I know I'm buying it for 100, but how much are you going to get? They're thinking in their head, I owe Wells Fargo $80,000. So I'm going to get 20. Oh yeah, you're going to get 20. So what happens? What if I could pay you? You don't even have to talk about paying a little more at this point, but you can say, what if I get you, would you mind if I gave you your $20,000 next week? I mean, you're going to get your 20 grand next week. Everything is due to you, all of your equity. Would you mind if Wells Fargo had to wait, a couple of months to get their money? And they might be like, well, what are you talking about there? And then you can explain to them subject to. So we do a lot of flips where we'll say, tell the sellers that basically we'll say, we'll service your payment for a few months while we put all the money into it. And then when we sell it, it'll pay it off and you'll be good to go. But you're getting all your money today. And most of the time, people are okay with that. And you're probably thinking, why would they want to do that? They would do that, but you have to think it's an option. First of all, knowing it's an option. And all of you tonight know it's an option. Bring it up to them. Why not? And the only reason they're going to say no is they don't understand it. And if you can explain it to them well enough, then you can get them to do that. And that's the Reader's Digest version, but watch those videos that I did. I go into depth of how you can talk to them about that. Option one, they owe something. That's 20 grand. The rest is seller finance, which at 5% interest or 4%, killer. It's much better than points, junk fees, and 12% interest, right? Option number two, they own it free and clear. Even better. What are you going to do with the money? They're like, I don't know. Well, what if I could get you a little interest on that money? Or what if I could, I'll pay you $20,000 now or $10,000 now or whatever, and I'll get you the rest of your money in a few months when I sell it. And if you do that with somebody, you don't even have to offer them more. You can just say, hey, I could give you the 100 if we do it this way. Or you can say, look, I know you want $100,000. What if I get you $102,000 and we do it this way? So you're making more money. And they're like, well, why would you ever do that? Well, because I've got people that I'm not made of money. I do a few different properties. So sometimes I have to borrow money from people. When I have to borrow money, I have to pay them interest like 6% or 8%. Well, instead of borrowing it from them, why don't I just give it to you, right? And then thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, how am I secure? And then you go on and explain to them, look, I'm going to sign a note. It's going to record against the property. If I don't pay you, you hope I don't pay you because then you're going to get the property back. It's totally improved and all that stuff. But I have a track record. I definitely wouldn't do that to you. You can talk to Tom, Dick, and Sally about this, right? But those are two options that you might not be thinking if you're working with private sellers. Well, why would they ever do that? Don't think you have to go find somebody else. Ask them first. Would they be willing to finance it? But don't say, would you entertain seller financing? Because the answer is always no, because they have no clue what that is. You just have to tell it to them in the terms that they understand. Really get it down on that level and just say, hey, wait a second. What if we could do something like this? It'd be better for both of us. What do you think? And they're like, can you do that? Okay, right? So give them a chance to say yes with that, but it starts with you understanding that you can do that. You guys are working with private sellers and you think you don't have money, go back and try to rework the deal with them holding the money. That's a wrap on the coaching call. Packed away all the stuff. Done for another week or so.